Higher. Every single year, about 2 million people get a letter from the Social Security Administration that starts with words nobody wants to read. You were overpaid, and now you owe us money back. Sometimes it's a few $100s. Sometimes it's thousands. Higher. And here's the part that makes it worse. In most cases, it wasn't even your mistake. It was the agency's own calculation error, and they're asking you to pay for it anyway. If this happens to you, panicking and writing a check right away is the worst thing you can do. Higher. Let's break down exactly why these letters get sent, what your real options are, and what the current rules actually say. Why this happens and overpayment happens whenever Social Security pays you more than you were actually entitled to receive. Higher. This is more common than most people realize, and according to reporting on the issue, it adds up to billions of dollars in overpayments every single year across the whole system. The causes are usually administrative, not personal. Higher. Common reasons include the agency processing a change in your income late, miscalculating benefits after you return to work, continuing to pay benefits during an appeal that you later lost, or simply an internal data entry error on SSA's side. In fact, higher. According to benefits guides reviewing these cases, most overpayments are not the beneficiary's fault at all. They're caused by SSA's own processing delays or administrative mistakes. When SSA catches the error, they send what's called a notice of overpayment. Higher. That letter includes the amount they say you owe, an explanation of how the overpayment happened, your repayment options, and, this is the important part, your rights to appeal or request a waiver. Real quick, if you haven't already, higher. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss next week's update, then let's keep going. What the current rules actually say. Here's where I need you to pay close attention, because these rules have changed more than once in the past 2 years, higher, and a lot of outdated information is floating around online. As of the current rules, if you receive Supplemental Security Income, SSI, and you're found to have been overpaid, the default withholding rate is 10% of your monthly payment, higher. That rate has stayed consistent through the recent policy changes. If you receive regular Social Security, retirement, survivor, or disability benefits, what's officially called Title II benefits, the rules are different and they shifted significantly, higher. For overpayment notices issued on or after April 25th of 2025, the default withholding rate for these benefits is 50% of your monthly check, unless you take action to change that. This was actually a reduction from an even stricter policy that existed briefly before that, higher, and it followed an even lower 10% cap that had been in place earlier. In other words, this has bounced around multiple times, so I want to be upfront that the exact percentage could shift again. Your safest move is always to check the specific number listed on your own notice, higher, or confirm current rates directly at ssa.gov, rather than relying on any single video, including this one, for the exact current percentage. Higher. Your actual rights, this is the part that matters most. Here's what almost nobody tells you clearly enough. You are not required to just accept an overpayment notice and start paying. You have 3 real options, and knowing them can make a massive difference. Option 1 is an appeal, higher, officially called a request for reconsideration, using Form SSA 561. You use this if you believe the overpayment amount is wrong or that there wasn't actually an overpayment at all. For example, if SSA miscounted your income or didn't realize you'd already stopped working, higher. Option 2 is a waiver, using Form SSA 632. You use this if you agree an overpayment did happen, but you believe it wasn't your fault, and paying it back would cause you real financial hardship. If you qualify on both of those points, not at fault, higher, and hardship, SSA can actually forgive the debt entirely. According to current guidance, there's no strict time limit for filing a waiver request specifically, unlike the appeal. Option 3, if you don't dispute the overpayment but simply can't afford the standard withholding rate, higher, is to request a lower monthly repayment amount or a payment plan you can actually manage. Here's the critical deadline to remember. If you file an appeal or waiver request within 30 days of the date on your notice, higher. SSA generally cannot start withholding money from your check while they review your case. Miss that window and automatic withholding can begin. Separately, if you specifically want to formally dispute the overpayment determination itself through reconsideration, higher. Most guidance points to a 60-day deadline for that specific request. Because these deadlines can be interpreted differently based on your exact situation, again, verify the specific dates on your own notice, higher. What not to do, let me be direct about the most common and costly mistakes people make with these letters. The first is ignoring the letter completely, hoping it goes away. It won't, and ignoring it just means you lose your window to pause collections and protect your options, higher. The second mistake is immediately writing a check for the full amount out of fear, before even checking whether you qualify for a waiver or whether the amount is even correct. Once you've paid, undoing that is much harder than pausing collection up front, higher. The third mistake is not keeping records. If you call SSA, write down the date, the name of the representative, and what was said. If you submit any forms or documents, keep copies. According to guidance from disability advocacy organizations, higher. Digital submissions through your My Social Security account are timestamped automatically, which can give you solid proof that you filed on time if there's ever a dispute about deadlines. Higher. What to do if you get this letter, so here's your action plan if this letter ever lands in your mailbox. First, don't panic and don't pay immediately. Read the letter fully to understand the stated reason and amount. Second, act within 30 days. Higher. Even if you're not sure yet whether you'll appeal or request a waiver, filing something within that window protects your benefits from being reduced while you sort it out. Third, figure out which category you're in. If you think the amount is wrong, file Form SSA 561. Higher. If you agree it happened but can't afford to repay it and it wasn't your fault, file Form SSA 632 for a waiver. If you just need a smaller monthly amount, call SSA directly to negotiate a payment plan. Fourth, if your case is complicated or denied at the first level, higher. Know that free help exists. Organizations like legal aid offices, state protection and advocacy organizations, and SOAR-trained case managers can assist people at no cost, especially in disability-related cases. Higher. So to sum up, about 2 million people get an overpayment notice from Social Security every year, and in most cases, it's the agency's own error, not theirs. If you receive one, you have real rights. You can appeal if the amount is wrong, higher, request a waiver if it wasn't your fault and repayment would cause hardship, or negotiate a payment plan you can actually afford. The single most important thing to remember is the 30-day window. Act within it, and you protect your check while everything gets sorted out. Higher. If this video helped you understand what to do if this letter ever arrives, hit subscribe, because I break down real Social Security and Medicare updates every single week. Official facts, no scare tactics, no guessing. And let me know in the comments. Higher. Has this ever happened to you or someone you know? I'll see you in the next one.